And welcome into the Tuesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar, they're with you on this Tuesday morning. Joseph, good morning. How we doing?
Doing all right. Like to thank the Twitter account Yossi at Yossi Forsberg, good Twitter account, for sending me this clip of Cam Scattaboo just destroying everyone in Giants camp. Look at this guy run, man. I'll tell you what, the New York Giants. I mean, he's going to do some damage out there.
Offensive player of the year
Cam Scattaboo. In the NFL? Well, maybe that might be a little.
League
much.
MVP.
Give him a couple years.
All right.
Give him a couple years. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. He's running past an entire defense here. I don't know. The Giants' defense isn't that bad, are they?
Well,
nah, they're not that good. Well, actually,
they're not completely terrible.
Yeah,
there is that. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Doing great. Just checking out the newest episode of Charmed. But fantastic. Hope everybody has a great Tuesday.
This may be turning into Robby and Rexrode tradition. Each morning as our show begins, Charmed is on TV, and Rexrode is just captivated.
Yeah, it's probably too much of a distraction. At some point, it's probably there's gonna be a reason we need to just turn the channel. Weird show though.
I've got the remote.
Yeah,
I'll decide when the channel gets turned. See what happens.
Other things we have to check on, in the world.
That's true. We do. We got a lot going on today's program. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will be with us at 7 o'clock. We will get into the latest on all things Tennessee and the Boo Carter situation with him as well. So looking forward to that at 7 o'clock. An early Rob Rant today around 7:30 because Brian Callahan, live press conference, 7:40 this morning approximately, which does not happen ever on our show, Joe, where we have live press conferences to go to. So we're excited for that one today. Brian Callahan speaking later this morning.
Yeah, which sort of highlights, big change for him this year. I mean, I haven't seen this with any coach here. I mean, it makes sense, especially like the heat that we've been having.
Yeah. Get out there early.
It makes sense to, get practice started at 8 a.m., go to 8 to 10. I mean, I know that when they had two-a-days back in the day, that was probably one of the two right around there, right? But for the most part, they've done, middle day practices, maybe like 10, maybe 9, 10, but a 7:40 presser before practice, kind of interesting. So that whatever happens during a particular day, you don't have Brian Callahan to ask about it, which kind of stinks, but you also knock it out. So I guess you can ask him about what happened the day before every morning. So that's good, I guess.
Brian, going back to yesterday.
Yeah. Well, today he'll no doubt be asked about what we've found out the last couple days.
There is no doubt about that. So looking forward to Brian Callahan's press conference a little bit later in the program. Treylon Burks, who spent a lot of time talking about him yesterday, Joe, and the collarbone injury and how that likely signaled the end of his Titans career. Well, it has. He has been released with an injured designation on Monday, which essentially means, Joe, they've come to some settlement here in his deal, and he can be picked up out there by somebody else. If he doesn't, he goes to injured reserve, and we'll see what his future looks like after that. But for all intents and purposes, his Titans career is now over with Treylon Burks getting getting released with an injury designation yesterday. So, we talked about basically 53 catches is probably going to be the number that he ends up at in his Titans career, and it's over with. 53 catches, 699 yards, 1 touchdown. Well, officially, that's where it is. It's where he's going to end up as a Tennessee Titan. 53 catches, 699 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, so you can now you can close the book on his. Yeah, obviously he's one of the biggest busts, I guess, in Titans history, right? I mean, it's an interesting debate.
He's on a very crowded list right around him of where he was selected, where we'll talk about here in just a few minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The debate on that includes a couple people drafted right before him, so it's quite a run for the franchise. So you look at that, and I guess everybody can get mad at John Robinson all over again. Again, like we said yesterday, too bad for him. It's not. I think at this point, the expectations were for most people. I think we're pretty reasonable and realistic. Make the team, not make the team. I don't know. I think it would have taken a lot, but I think beyond that, they have, even though this receiver room is no, superstar collection, it still would have been hard for him to do a lot on the field this year. So, we'll see where he goes from here in terms of trying to, stick in it. Does he want to stick with it, keep playing? I don't know. I probably would see how far you can take it. But I mean, man, it just, at some point you also have to realize, like, you just can't stay healthy in this league.
Yeah. So PK ran this piece yesterday at paulkuharski.com with Burks out of there. 11 of the 91 players that are currently on the Titans roster date back to John Robinson. 11 of them. So it's dwindling down very quickly.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, that's Jeff Simmons, Monty Hooker, Morgan Cox, Mason Kinsey, Corey Levin, Roger McCreary, Chig Okonkwo, Julius Chestnut, believe it or not, Thomas Odukoya, Andrew Rupsich, and Mike Brown. There you go.
Wow.
Those are your Titans that are still connected to J-Rob.
And of those 11, how many are key, players? Simmons, Hooker,
Morgan Cox.
Well, that's true. Morgan Cox definitely is
very good.
Yeah, but boy, that's it hasn't been that long,
No, it is not. 11 guys on the 90.
11 will start.
91 players that are on the roster.
Yeah, it's a lot of churn, and then it's like, and then the churn hasn't yielded much yet.
Yeah,
it's not yet. So
that's how you end up in the situation there. I mean,
that's how you're bad.
When you factor that in, you factor in some guys that they've tried to bring in as roster churning that's not gone very well, and a tweet that we're going to get to from Nick Suss that I saw yesterday that just kind of boggles my mind. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes. You factor in all these things, Joe, and it's no real surprise that they were 3-14 last year.
Yeah. I mean, it does add up. It's amazing that tenure, that John Robinson tenure, like how good and then how bad it was, it kind of like
on a dime.
I know some people, it's like they look at their life, it's like how many things changed, and even in society, but like in people's lives, like with COVID, right? And it's like the John Robinson GM tenure too, that COVID draft. Some people were able to draft good players during that draft, believe it or not. But from then on, it's just weird how it nosedived.
Well, obviously yesterday with the Treylon Burks stuff being thrown out there, around the league, it was, hey, let's revisit the Titans trading of A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles and just go side by side of what that looks like. PK put out a tweet, and I mean, when you go, even if you just went purely stats, just lined them up next to each other, what A.J. Brown's done in Philadelphia and what Treylon Burks has done with the Titans, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, the difference. And then you factor in, A.J. Brown has been to a Super Bowl, lost it, and also has just won a Super Bowl as well. I mean, it's going to go down as, and look, I don't have some big laundry list of NFL trades in front of me right now, but it will be up there in terms of the worst trades in NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, you've got obviously the two that come to mind are like the Cowboys building a dynasty off an aging Herschel Walker, the Vikings trading all these picks to the Cowboys for Herschel Walker when he was past his prime. And then Mike Ditka, at least he was going for a rookie, but I mean, like trading an entire draft so he could get Ricky Williams out of Texas. Like, go look back at what went back for Ricky Williams. It's insane, man. And I'm sure there's others that are out that should be obvious. So like in the whole picture of the NFL, it'd be interesting. But especially if AJ Brown, like, I mean, how many more years of being great does he have? Because if he's got a few more years of being great, like you said, he's got a ring already. I mean,
he's only 28.
Like, if he becomes a Hall of Fame receiver?
Oh, he's going to.
Then it's, I mean, he's on the track.
He's well
for sure.
on the track.
He's on the track. So, yeah. I mean, I wrong about a lot of things, but I went back and read my little tantrum column yesterday. Like, well, that one was right.
He nailed that one.
God, the Vrabel, the whole thing, man. Like, I mean, that night was just like, it's just everything ripped apart.
I mean, I'm trying to think back. Like, we've had some shows. I mean, we've been doing this almost 5 years now, which is it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
We've had some shows where you've walked in and been a little angry, a little upset. I think that one takes the cake. The day that they traded, the show after they traded AJ Brown, I think that was at the top of the list.
Yeah, I did. It was a tantrum in writing, and then I kept tantruming. And then you're also like, again, everybody can have whatever opinion they want, but like, of course, still is like, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. So like, it made me even more angry, like that we had somebody on, like, no, we all must be unified. This is the dumbest move of all time. But yeah, that was a very angry time.
That was a very angry, lots of anger,
man, it's
floating around.
I mean, that was what, it was right after the crying session in Indy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you think about that day at Nissan Stadium and where things looked, and then all of a sudden it's like, fast forward just a few weeks, and my goodness, it just pulled the rug out from everybody.
You think that J-Rob was crying in Indy because he knew that he was getting ready to trade AJ Brown? In retrospect, maybe so.
He's like, don't do it, John, but I have to.
Still to this day, I will never forget Vrabel's face on that broadcast of the draft of him just walking off after they make the AJ Brown trade. It's like, oh God.
And then him, trying to like, oh yeah, we were.
Yeah.
I love AJ, but we were in. We did we're in lockstep. Okay.
Yep. Good stuff. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. I saw a tweet from Nick Suss yesterday as it relates to the Tennessee Titans that, frankly, I just couldn't believe. But the more you think about it, like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts all program long on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, I saw a tweet yesterday from Nick Suss, who does an outstanding job covering the Titans for the Tennessean, friend of the show, that is just amazing when you read it, okay? He was talking about the first-round picks in the NFL from 2020 to 2022, which we know is just an absolute doozy of a run for the Titans when you're talking about Isaiah Wilson, Caleb Farley, Treylon Burks. And he broke it down by snap counts, okay? First-round draft picks from 2020 to 2022 with the fewest career snaps. Heading that list, as we know, Isaiah Wilson with 4 snaps for the Tennessee Titans. He played 4.
I remember there was like some debate, like, wait, was it 4 or was it 5?
And how many of those came on like an extra point?
Yeah, at least a couple.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't he get like blown up?
Oh, he got absolutely smoked on one of them too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 snaps for Isaiah Wilson. So when I started reading this from Suss, I knew that he would be at the top. It's like, it's hard to beat 4 snaps.
Yeah.
You get through this list. By the way, quarterbacks on here, Trey Lance with 360 at number 3. So that's incredible. Caleb Farley apparently played 476 snaps. I would have gone lower on that. But Farley coming in at number 5 on this list. And Treylon Burks is at number 9 at 1,021, which means of these 9 players that Nick Suss has listed that are first-round draft picks from 2020 to 2022 with the fewest career snaps, the Titans have 3 of them. 3 of them. Isaiah Wilson, Caleb Farley, Treylon Burks. And by the way, Henry Ruggs is on this list as well, and he hit somebody and killed him and went to jail. So
right.
there's that.
Yeah. That's 33.3% by my math. That's
not good.
That's amazing. You've got a third of the busts in the NFL over of the biggest busts in the NFL over a 3-year period. Very hard to do. That's one of those. It's a great tweet by Suss. Great research. And that's one of those that if you could throw this into one of those search engines, and figure out like how many similar stretches could you find from various teams where they would have that same thing, where they would have, 3 of the top 3 of the top 10 in a 3-year period. 3 straight picks like that in the first round. Incredible. Hard to do. Rare. Special. So, Ed on the text line is like, can we put the A.J. Brown trade to bed? I said, give it cookies and tell it a story. I think he to seriously answer Ed's question. No, we'll keep bringing it. It'll be brought up forever. Yeah. Again, it's like again, if the
Titans are playing football,
like I just brought up the Mike Ditka trade for which would have been, I think, 99, 2000, right? Ricky Williams. I just brought up the Herschel Walker Dallas trade. That was 1987, I think. 88. Like, these things live on forever. It will never go to bed because it really is extraordinary.
Well, and you think about these 3 draft picks that we always keep coming back to. And look, it's not just as simple as that. Like, it's not – the Titans are not 3-14 last year only because they had 3 consecutive first-round picks that were just absolute tire fires.
No, plenty of
It's
other
a huge
things.
factor in it, but there are plenty of other things that have led into that, and we know that. But, I mean, it does kind of underscore if you just totally whiff on your first-round picks year after year for an extended period of time, it's really hard to overcome that with your roster. And, I'm looking through the time that since they've been here in Nashville as the Titans. I mean, they've had some doozies of first-round picks, right? Like, Andre Woolfolk was a first-round pick in 2003. But I don't think they've had anything that's that bad. Like, it's hard to be that bad 3 years in a row. Like, they had 2 out of 3 from 11 to 13. You went through Jake Locker at quarterback.
Yes.
You had Kendall Wright, who was okay. and then Chance Warmack, which was an absolute disaster.
It's a very bad stretch because Wright was fine, but he wasn't anything near what you were hoping for. And like the other two were obviously total busts.
Yeah, they've had some stretches here where it's been bad, but I don't know. I don't know that they will ever top. If they do, they're in serious trouble. 3 consecutive years of Wilson, Farley, and Burks, and just the total lack of production for different reasons, but lack of production from those 3. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, and that's those 3 that you just said. That's what I looked at too. Like that's the closest. I mean, I even looked through the whole Oilers, time period. I mean, sometimes you get into the, the 60s, and it's like, but even with them, like you go a couple drafts with someone like I've never heard of that guy. I've never heard of Mac Hake, although that was 2nd round pick anyway. But then you'll run across, Doug Wilkerson. You'll run across Dan Pastorini, John Matuzak, obviously Earl Campbell, Robert Brazil, like. They even the entire history of the Oilers, by the way, I still love this three-year stretch of 82, Mike Munchak, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
83, Bruce Matthews, Hall of Famer. 84, Dean Steincolor, just offensive lineman year. I'm sure the people of Houston were like, God, will you stop
something else?
But
worked out pretty well.
It did work out pretty well. And then Ray Childress, by the way, after that. So, they had. I mean, again, you look at Floyd. You look at Floyd's run as GM. Obviously, Eddie George and McNair back to back, but like the Javon Curse, Keith Bullock back to back. Man, I mean, Hainsworth in 02. I mean,
again, it's more complicated. Stuff. It's more complicated than this. But think about this 6-year stretch of 1st round picks from the mid 90s right at 2000. They had McNair, Eddie George, Kenny Holmes, Kevin Dyson, Javon Curse, Keith Bullock. You're talking about 5 guys there that played pretty massive roles in why those early teams were very, very good, right? So,
absolutely.
Again, it's more complicated than just the 1st round picks. But it does show you, like, if you can hit on your 1st round picks, you're probably, as an organization, going to like how that turns out for you on the win-loss record at the end of the day. And if you don't, and particularly, like, it's one thing to miss. It's another to totally whiff. Like, if you totally whiff on your 1st round picks, it's really difficult to overcome that in the NFL.
Right. Like Kendall Wright, for example, didn't live up to the billing and all that stuff, but he was a important player in a year that helped turn the franchise around in 2016. He was, I would say, he and Rashard Matthews, those are your top 2 receivers with Marcus Mariota. I mean, so even that still ended up helping the franchise in some way.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously these guys, and like you said, like if you made these, same 3 picks and you did a lot of other stuff right, and you had like better picks, after them, again, 20. I mean, it's like, there's just very little there. Christian Fulton, but he wasn't there. In 21, I mean, you keep, Radens and Monty Rice and Des Fitzpatrick, like it was 2022. Hey, I mean, McCreary's good. There's your one. And Chig's fine, but Nicholas Petit-Frere, Malik Willis, and a 3rd round pick where you could have taken a player, but you just took a flyer on a quarterback. Hassan Haskins, Kyle Phillips. I mean, the drafts, none of the rest of those drafts weren't total disasters, but they were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, it was just really bad NFL drafting for 3 straight years. So, the thing is, we agree, and I think most people agree, like the firing of John Robinson, first of all, in season, dumb. And also, you can't separate it from like the Eagles scene and all that stuff and A.J. Brown. But like there was building evidence, not that we knew at that point, like the outcome of obviously a Burks or even a Farley or Wilson we did, but even a Farley at that point. But still, there was building evidence that, man, this is going totally the wrong direction, and they're still trying to dig out of it.
Yeah. Weston Clarksville says, so are those bad picks on J-Rob? 2 of those were really good players in college. Isaiah Wilson was good, and so was Burks. I wouldn't have drafted Farley because he was hurt to begin with. Well, I mean, look, you start getting in the 1st round picks. How many 1st round picks are you talking about that don't have good college careers, right? And it doesn't happen very often where it's like, oh, that's a 1st round pick, and he didn't really do a whole lot in college. So that's part of your job is projecting ahead. Now, I mentioned these three that they drafted. It's very different stuff, right? Like Isaiah Wilson was his own thing. Like it's his own total disaster.
I give them the most grace on him by far of the three drafts because Farley was
staring you in the face, right? And there were medical reports that we talked about on the show with Farley that other teams had where he was totally off their board, and you chose to pick him in the first round. So that was, I mean, to me, that's different than Isaiah Wilson. That's different than Burks. Like Burks, there wasn't a whole lot of injury stuff with Burks in college, and he was very productive in college. And then he got to the NFL, and the guy just can't stay healthy, right? Like his body just totally fell apart on him.
But the Burks thing also, you can't separate it from the trade.
Correct.
Right? So that's the thing about Burks. I mean, that's why you could make the case that of all of them, that's still the worst just because it was also the separation of the one time. I mean, obviously, D-Mace, like basically you have in your Titans history, you have drafted two great receivers.
Yeah.
In a quarter century. And you just had one entering his prime. Bye.
Yep. It's really tough to swallow.
We're not going to put it to bed, Ed.
really tough to swallow.
Yeah.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll take more of your thoughts on the Titans. Plus, Rexrode has had just about enough of a certain sports entity, which we will get to coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. You can help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615 is sponsored by Macero and 12 South. You can go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality as well. Again, head to thegamenashville.com/shoes to donate. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, there is a sports entity that you have had just about enough of as it relates to the world of college football. And with that, I'm just going to turn the floor over to you and let you go here.
Well, I wanted you to get in on this because we did
we
talked about this some last week when you were gone because they had their media days, but like it really is. And I linked on our grid here a piece. Scott Docterman did a good piece, laying out some of the history of how the Big Ten. Actually, if you went back over time in the last, I think he did the 4-team era. If you stretched it, to a 16-team thing, how like they would actually have more teams in that time period than the SEC, which is great. So in a 5, so this is the 5-11 format, which is the format that if they're going to do 16 or whatever, they're going to do 14, do 5 + 9. 5 + 9 means 5 automatic qualifiers. The rest are automatic bids. It means, yes, a selection committee is involved in picking the teams. I mean, it'd be great to get rid of the selection committee, folks. I heard Rhett Lashley on Feinbaum yesterday. He's like, we just need to just get it to where it's just about standings. It's like, yeah, it sounds good, Rhett. So standings in college football, in different leagues, with different strengths of schedule, with different numbers of games you play. With
that won't cause a problem.
With different non-conference scheduling approaches, which I think is very key. But the 5-11, Docterman's piece here, the Big Ten would have averaged 4.9 spots from 2014 to 2024. SEC would have averaged 4.6, which is great. So if that's the case, and you're the Big Ten, how about go with that then?
Yeah,
do that. If you're that confident that that's how it's going to be moving forward, again, I'll sit here and list out all the programs that I think have championship potential in the SEC. I'll list them out in the Big Ten. The SEC has a lot more. I mean, whether you like it or not, that's reality. But those numbers are interesting. It makes me wonder why the Big Ten would be interested in the stupid auto bids thing. But it's just this whole it's like they're the Stepford coaches in the Big Ten. I understand that you're generally going to support your commissioner, but I mean, Eli Drinkwitz made fun of his 30-team playoff thing. At least he didn't fall. Like he basically his plan is the same as the Big Ten's.
Yeah.
At least he had his own.
Makes total sense,
I know, but it had his own original thought. It's terrible. I mean, he's like, the selection committee, we don't need that. All they do is reward the big brands. Eli, last year, Indiana got in over Alabama, bro.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're totally on point. But the Big Ten stuff, some of the stuff coming out of there, and Kurt Cignetti, last year's darling, I think Kurt Cignetti's on his way to becoming like a very disliked person in college football. Like, did you see what he said about it? Yeah, they get rid of Virginia on their schedule so that they can, just play. First of all, Virginia sucks. Have you not noticed that?
I mean, it's acting like they've gotten rid of, Georgia or something. It's Virginia.
Like, if you play Virginia and beat them, you get credit. You played a Power 4 team. Yeah. That's what we're doing. We're counting up all the Power 4 teams on the schedules. I agree with anybody who says everybody should play 10 on a 12-game schedule. So if you're the SEC and you're only playing 8, okay, then play 2 Power 4s. Fine.
Agreed.
Virginia counts. But no. Let's get rid of Virginia and play Kennesaw State or whatever they're doing. And then he makes the joke of, we're just doing the SEC thing. And Blake Topmeyer had a really good column about this USA Today. It's like, so if you're any of the people on the selection committee right now, and you hear Kurt Cignetti say that, And we all know they got in, and I argued for them to get in, and it was close, but I think they got it right. But fine. If you're on the selection committee and you hear him say that, and everybody's screaming about his strength of schedule, did he just hey, Kurt, these people are making selection in the future. Maybe he just thinks Indiana's going to go 8-4 every year and it won't matter. I mean, that's probably more close to reality anyway, right? But it's like, do you understand that you're almost like taunting the system and you're reveling in playing garbage?
Yeah,
it's nonsense. And they're like, well, we're not going to schedule these games if we don't get this automatic qualifier plan. So to you, it's more important that we totally devalue these games in September. Then you'll play them. I mean, it's just it's stunning to me, the stupidity that is just coming out in streams of the Big Ten. And again, then you get into this stuff and it's like, oh, SEC homer, a Big Ten. I don't give a crap. The SEC is full of crap sometimes too. And if they would be supporting this system, they would be just as much. But their coaches actually look at it and say, yeah, we're good. No, we don't want that. Big Ten coaches, they say they're good, but I don't know, man. If you want this system, you don't think you're that good.
Boy, do they love Tony Petitti too. My goodness. I mean, some of the praise, and again, like you said, you're not going to find too many coaches in conferences that don't say some nice things about the commissioner from time to time of their conference. But and I think Doctorman put it in here, didn't all but 2 teams open their statement?
Yeah, this was a great
plan. We love Tony Petitti. He's come out and he's really got it going on here. It's like, geez, guys. I mean, do we not realize at this point that their plan in the Big Ten here for the format that they want, it's not happening, right? Like the SEC is not going to get on board with it. And
I hope
right
not.
now the ACC and the Big 12 don't look like they're getting on board with it either. So it's not going to happen. So how long are we going to do this song and dance here where they're going to try to push this? Because at some point you got to make a decision. I mean, when's the deadline? December? So at some point we got to get on the horse here and make a decision.
So, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I guess you could say, hey, this looks good because it looks like it's just going to be a stalemate and then they're just going to default to staying at 12.
It's fine with me.
That would be great. That would be fine. But in the meantime, just the idea that they're pushing this so hard, and I don't think the SEC is going to buckle, right? Look, the SEC goes to 9 games. Maybe the Big Ten says, okay, great. We'll all agree on this. But I mean, the way they're talking right now is this is independent of that anyway now. It's not even like it's like an either-or thing. This is a great quote from Petitti. He's like, quote, your obligation is to give fans things that are meaningful. They care about the tradition of it and all that, but we're also trying to get to the next generation of fans to connect and have those moments, those opportunities.
They care about that stuff, I guess. Yeah.
The tradition and all that. But here, let me have some gimmicky garbage so that we can juice up the TV ratings a little bit in the short term. I'll make my money, get the hell out, and good luck to everybody in college sports.
I'm just glad that we are able to refer to them as the Big Ten. I know for some coaches in that conference, they can't say the names of the other conference, right? Like James Franklin's that other conference is like, the other conference where you spent a few years and at that time we're talking about how much better it is than everywhere else. Yeah,
the one you worked in. Yeah, exactly. Oh my! I mean, at least I give James Franklin credit for basically indirectly ripping Petitti. Be great to be the media days where our media could come cover it.
Yeah.
But we're in Las Vegas, so I guess not.
That other conference? Well, who are you referring to, James? Did Greg Sankey put up a nice little photo of just said TOC, that other conference?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I missed that.
That's good stuff.
Okay, that's good. Let's get back to the, it's like the Big Ten, the SEC, they got their little memo that they have the power, and so the ACC and Big 12 just have to sit there and take it. But I'd like to see a Big Ten SEC hatred between commissioners here.
Yeah, I
think Tony Petitti's earned it.
I think so. 615-737-1025. Our phone number will take your thoughts on the Big Ten part of this with the college football playoff, plus some big news in college football yesterday that we'll get to as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll have Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel coming up at 7 o'clock. We'll get the latest on Tennessee and Boo Carter as they're about to open up fall camp in Knoxville. We'll have the Brian Callahan press conference later this morning, right around 7:40, as they step on the practice field today at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to that coming up a little bit later in the show as well. We will get to some big news yesterday in college football here in just a moment. But Joe, first, are people screaming to get rid of preseason polls in college football?
Very disappointed in friend of the show, longtime friend of mine, Adam Rittenberg from ESPN. Love the guy. I almost always agree with his takes, especially on college football. Unfortunately, he's a Chicago pro sports fan. But that's okay. This is another Big Ten coach special. Rittenberg was out there at Big Ten Media Days. He's like, talked to a lot of Big Ten coaches. And if I was prepared for this segment, Robby, I would actually have this tweet in front of me. But I'm paraphrasing, although now I'm trying to find it. I want to make sure I have this right because I was very shocked to see this from Adam Rittenberg. But basically, here we go. He says, I brought it up to several Big Ten coaches. They agreed. The preseason polls should be obliterated. They carry too much meaning and shape debate, overvaluing / undervaluing teams before we know anything. And I'm like, Adam, this is stuff that people talked about. I mean, they've been talking about it forever. Every year I hear this, and it's like, that sounds great, but it's never going to happen. And no, I don't even he, and a lot of people are way overrating what it means. Again, last year, what was Alabama preseason?
Oh, God, top 5, weren't they?
I mean, some people, they were certainly top 5. Last year, what was Indiana preseason?
Unranked.
They were not ranked.
Yeah.
And I know that Chris Vanini, friend of the show, who ranks all the teams, had them in the 80s. Indiana made the playoff. Alabama didn't make the playoff. We react to information as it comes. Again, Indiana they're just like a great example of good and bad, whatever. You can use them in a lot of different ways. Very versatile example. We got to stop this thing. This is a mini rant because it's like it's an annual thing that people will say, and it's like, do you really think we would go without preseason rankings? Again, you can be mad about them, and you can think, well, but this is this is another Big Ten talking about it. The SEC has all the SEC has a built-in advantage because the ESPN and the preseason rankings. Like, I mean, you're right that there's a ton of SEC teams usually ranked in the preseason, but it's usually because they're good. They have a lot of good players. They were good the year before. We react to information. There are voters who are bad, and I definitely agree with anybody talking about this. There are voters who they have their preseason, and then this is what it is, and then I just moved this team a spot, and I just moved. No, early in a season as a voter, you should move it all. You should be able to blow it up every week, right? That should happen more. The preseason rankings it's too stagnant from what they are, so I agree. But also, the rankings don't freaking mean anything anymore.
Well, they don't.
It's just there. They're just there for us to, here's a big game on TV, number 3 against number 7. Also, it is part of program history too. We have 9 wins against the number 1 team. We are, 7-15 against top 5 teams on the road. I mean, we're not getting rid of this. Can we stop talking about it?
Oh, by the way, Alabama number 5 in the preseason poll last year.
Didn't get them in the playoff.
Did not.
We watched them play football and said, nope, you're good. Sit home or go play in whatever bowl game.
Florida State number 10 in the preseason poll last year.
Wow. That
didn't go so well.
It didn't seem to help them. Yeah, I'm shocked that Rittenberg bought into this. This is a very, very tired talking point. And again, it just doesn't mean at all what people think it does. Yeah, we have preconceived notions of teams, but we do, I think, most people react to information that they get on Saturday.
Yeah, it didn't take very long to realize that Florida State sucked last year.
Right.
Wow, they were really not good, huh?
And by October, everybody was talking about Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Michigan, where were they ranked last year? Preseason, probably somewhere decent. Maybe not because they lost so many players, but they also were, they fell out of the rankings quickly. It's just that one is, it's amazing.
Number 9.
Yeah, there you go. Number 9. So number 9, Michigan. Number 10, Florida State.
Yeah.
Number 5, Alabama. None of them played for anything at the end. I mean, it's just how I don't get it. I don't get why we keep talking about this.
Some news in the college football world yesterday. Deion Sanders announcing that he is currently cancer-free after battling bladder cancer, and he had to get his bladder removed, and says since the surgery, there have not been any traces of the cancer and that he will be coaching this year. But Deion Sanders making that announcement yesterday, Joe, that apparently he has been battling cancer and is now cancer-free after having surgery to remove his bladder.
Yeah, I mean, it's been obviously kind of a big mystery. There was some college football account yesterday that was like, breaking, Deion is done, and then it's like, no, I'm actually not done. It's great to hear that that the doctor said, he is cured from cancer, which is great to hear. And I thought he was really good talking about it. I mean, first of all, talking about like don't Google stuff, which is I agree.
Yeah,
he said, quote, "That's the wrong thing to do because they tell you you're gonna die, dog." End quote. He also said, "I depend on Depends." So I mean, there's absolutely a huge Deion Sanders Depends ad campaign that is coming, big time.
He said, if you see a porta potty on the sideline, it's real. I'm just telling you, you're gonna see one at practice and on the sideline.
Oh man, so. But I mean, he's had some stuff. I mean, he's had the toes, obviously, and so it's good to see. It's good to see him beat it and be back. And I know he said that Randy Moss, of course, who he's got bile duct cancer. He's been calling him a lot and things like that. And man, I mean, it's just you figured it was something significant, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's great to hear that he's beating this. Or that he has beat it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And, Deion Sanders, obviously a very controversial figure, but I believe college football is certainly better when he is coaching and is a part of it.
It's more interesting.
Definitely more interesting.
Is he going to be a sympathetic figure now?
I don't know.
I got his son. People seem to not like his son, so he's not there anymore.
It's true. In all seriousness, like the post Shedeur, Travis Hunter era at Colorado and like how good they are this year is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. I mean,
and Caden Salter walking around there.
Yeah, that's right. Is he their starter?
I don't know for sure that he's their starter. I think he's the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, it is interesting. Tons of turnover. There's been a lot of talk about like he doesn't recruit high school kids, conventionally either. So what's the staying power of that program? I mean, he's turned around the worst program in college football in Power 4. People should remember that. But also, I mean, the results haven't been what they were, what you would hope. And like you said, when you have granted, Shedeur Sanders did not go high in the draft like we thought he would. I still think that as purely as a player he would have. But then Travis Hunter.
His jersey retired, though.
That is true. That is true.
And number 2 will be hanging from the rafters up there this year.
But Travis Hunter was great and will be great. And they'll miss him.
Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will be with us coming up next. We'll get into the latest with Tennessee and the Boo Carter situation. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel as fall camp set to open for the Tennessee Volunteers. Adam, good morning. How are we doing?
Pretty good, guys. Ready to get this thing started?
Ready to get it started. And we have reached that time of year. And Adam, as you know, a lot of conversation in the last couple of weeks in Knoxville about Boo Carter and what exactly is going on there. Is he going to be on the team? Is he leaving? Like, what's happening with Boo Carter? So what's your sense for the latest of where things currently stand with Boo Carter as fall camp is about to open up?
Isn't it crazy that the quarterback situation is like the second storyline? Yeah. Now, only at Tennessee this has happened. Yeah, I mean, the short answer is I don't know if he's on the roster right now as I'm on the phone. That things seem to be moving toward Boo remaining on the team. I mean, we do have to remember that, like, this isn't a binary decision necessarily of like adding him to the team or taking him off a team. Like he's there. So until he's not, he remains on the team. If you just like read the tea leaves of some of the stuff his family have put out on social media, which grain of salt, but still that it's there, seems to be a much better chance that he's going to be here. We're maybe not going to know until Josh Heupel addresses it. I mean, there were team meetings last night, positional meetings. They've gone through all that stuff. There's been no tweets or Instagrams or anything of Boo saying, farewell or anything like that. My hunch is that he's going to be on the team, but with some conditions. And we'll see whether or not Josh Heupel reveals that or not. At the very least, I mean, we're going to know just because he's either going to be on the roster or not on the roster. But a lot of times if there's punishment, so to speak, of missing meetings or workouts or anything like that, team activities, a lot of coaches say, we'll handle it internally and whatever that is. I don't know that fans even care what that means, but just that he's on the team or not.
Yeah, and it seems to me, first of all, Boo Carter being on the team or not being on the team, I would say, boy, that's a pretty big news item for this team, given like how reliant I think it will be on him. But we have talked, Adam, some about this situation, and then if you look at Nico, different situations, of course. But is there a big picture program concern to be found in any of this, or are we just looking at the reality of if you have 100 people, you're going to have issues at times?
I'd say more of the latter. I mean, and these have gone different ways. I mean, just think of this offseason. Ricky Gibson was almost gone. Yep. He sort of moved toward the transfer portal, never went in. Mike Matthews did the same thing. And then obviously Nico leaving. I think this is one of those things where, and I just got back from SEC Media Days, right, where you're sitting around and you're talking to all these other SEC beat writers, and hey, you won't believe what's going on with the program I cover and that sort of thing. I think fans would be surprised if they were fans of another team, how much what gives them anxiety happens at other teams. It's just you don't know that a lot of these things happen because, right, Ricky Gibson, Mike Matthews, those guys almost went into the transfer portal. Most people outside of like the absolute rabid core fan base of Tennessee didn't know that any players like that almost went into the transfer portal. I find that when I put up a story about Boo Carter the other day, there were even people in our industry that are pretty plugged in were like, hey, apparently something's happened with Boo Carter. And you're like, well, this has been going on a week. People don't know. And therefore, I think Tennessee fans that think that the worst happens here, they would be surprised this happens at a lot of other places. I think it also goes back to the fact that when Nico left in the spring, Heupel really leaned into the, nobody's bigger than the power T sort of thing. So he sort of like drew a line right there that I think he's being held by for better or worse now.
So, Adam, as you mentioned, the quarterback story is a huge one heading into fall camp. Wide receiver, we've talked with you before in the past about how unproven it is there. And we've not even really gotten to the fact that Tennessee is about to have to replace a 1,500-yard back from a year ago. So how exactly do you think that's going to shake out? Is there going to be one dominant ball carrier in your mind? Is it going to be maybe more of a running back by committee approach with Star Thomas and Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis? How do you think they handle that this year?
I think it's probably by committee more so. Now, they switched running back coaches the last couple of years, and under the old way, it was more of a trio. The last couple of years, it's been more of a duo. They've got either option now. So Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, I think, is the obvious duo. Did Star Thomas catch up? Because he was a little behind. He was obviously a little behind, which happens a lot with transfers coming in, having to get used to the tempo and all that. But in the spring, he was behind. We'll see in camp if he can catch up. I think that's the difference of whether they're a duo or trio. Obviously, injuries are going to come into play too. I'm not terribly worried about it. I mean, I think Heupel's offense to some extent is sort of the early 2000s Denver Broncos, right, where they used to just plug in a guy and somehow he rushed for 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a Dylan Sampson on this team, but I do think they're going to produce just because of the style of the offense, how spread out everything is. I mean, Deshaun Bishop gives me a Jabari Small feel, like a guy who's probably not going to have a decade-long NFL career or anything, but he's going to be very productive in this offense and give them what they need.
So at quarterback, like you said, it somehow takes a little bit of a backseat. I think eventually it'll reemerge as the story, of course, of camp. We've asked you before, but after going through SEC media days, how do you handicap this situation? I mean, there's a lot of praise for Aguiar and sort of how he's entrenched himself, some of his leadership stuff, but Merklinger has more time in the system. There's a lot of excitement about the freshman McIntyre. How do you expect this to play out, Adam?
Well, coming out of SEC media days, like everybody wrote about Joey Aguilar because we hadn't talked to him yet. He's the new guy. It's always one of those funny things about is the coach mostly talking about this guy, or is the coach talking about this guy because that's the guy everybody's asking about? It was a little of both, I think, at SEC media days. I think he could level out a little bit today, and as we get into camp, I'll be interested to see Josh Heupel's approach to this, because in the middle of talking about all that he loved about Joey Aguilar at SEC media days, he would every once in a while be like, but it's an open competition. Everybody's going to get their opportunity. And so we talked to all three quarterbacks today. Is Josh Heupel and Joey Halzle going to present that more as a three-way race today rather than what it seemed like at SEC media days was more like it's Joey Aguilar's job to lose? Now, I think that may be closer to the truth, but it's fun. I mean, I would still put Aguilar as the highest odds, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But they've never ruled out Jake Merklinger, and it's a long time before kickoff. And Syracuse is a game that if you don't have to play your best game to beat Syracuse, but you can't play poorly and necessarily beat Syracuse. And they will go into that game with whoever they think can run the offense efficiently and not necessarily make just enormous plays. And Jake Merklinger at least has a chance to be that guy. I would say Aguilar has a better chance, but Merklinger does have a shot.
So, Adam, we've talked before about the blue chip ratio and, the amount of talent that this Tennessee team has. And for the first time, I think I saw Ryan Callahan put this out there last week. For the first time in 20 years, they've got a blue chip ratio that would suggest that they can actually win a national championship. And you look back over the last 25 years, I mean, you've got to have a certain number of 4- and 5-star guys to win a national championship. As you pointed out yesterday at the Knoxville News Sentinel, a lot of those guys are really, really young. They've got a really young team this year. So how do you balance those two things for this year, viewing this team in terms of it's a really talented roster, it's also a really young roster?
Yeah, I think the way I put it in the story was that this roster is built to win eventually, but not necessarily immediately. Could win big this year. We'll see. But it's, the 49% of this roster, counting walk-ons, 49% of this roster are freshmen, true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. And so those are guys that have basically not played at all or close to at all. This is the largest freshman class, if you put those two together, Josh Heupel's ever had. It's the first time he's ever gotten that close to half of the roster as freshman or redshirt freshman. This is the most redshirt freshman he's had, which means those are guys that have been around that know the system, but they also haven't played. And I mentioned a few of those guys just in this call. But yeah, the quote unquote blue chip ratio, the 4-star, 5-star, that allotment is the largest it's been under Josh Heupel. So a lot of talent there, but it's untapped talent. I mean, I think I counted in my projected depth chart there are like 30 of 44 guys. I think in the 2 deep, 30 of 44 guys, I believe was the number, that are 4 stars or 5 stars. And Josh Heupel did not have that much quote unquote talent in some of his better teams at Tennessee. So it's there. You just don't know if it's going to show up early in the season, later in the season, or this season at all, and maybe you're waiting a year later. It's a big mystery of this season. There's some suspense, and I think that's why it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think obviously there are some talented guys who should emerge this year. Give me one name, Adam, of someone who no one's really talking about now, but maybe by the time the season starts, or maybe even just early in the season, people are going to be talking about.
Oh boy,
I know I'm putting you on the spot on that one.
That nobody's talking about. That's sort of hard to gauge. But Braylon Staley, I would put him in there because as a slot receiver, it's a guy that they liked in practice a lot last year, but he hardly ever played. So we love him in practice, guys. A lot of times, if they're young enough, usually pan out a year later. He plays a slot, which means in this offense, the slot, you're going to get a whole lot of targets. It's almost sort of the safety valve, what a tight end is in a pro style offense. So he's going to get a lot of targets. There's not really like anybody behind him. There's freshmen. There's a injured redshirt freshman, Amari Jefferson, or at least he was injured in the spring. So by position, by talent, and, this is a guy that Braylon Staley being on the team is one of the reasons Squirrel White is not on the team, that he's at Florida State. Because that's Squirrel White, I think, probably wanted a little bit of bump in pay and wanted to make sure that his place in this roster was sealed up. And I think he looked at it and said, Braylon Staley's going to take away some of my snaps next season. And so for that reason, I think Braylon Staley at the end of the year, you're going to say, okay, that's the guy that really produced it. We didn't necessarily know he would back in the fall.
Well, Adam, we're excited. Fall camp is here, and then about a couple days in the fall camp, we'll be like, all right, so when are the games coming? But we're excited that we're here. We're getting there. We're getting closer, and appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning.
All right, guys, y'all have a good one.
Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll react to what Adam had to say. Get his thoughts, or get your thoughts on the Boo Carter situation for Tennessee as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in to ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Sounds take on Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Pre-game at 5:20, first pitch at 5:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Appreciate Adam Sparks for being with us in the last segment. We will have the Brian Callahan press conference a little bit later this hour as the Titans are back on the field today at training camp, and they're set to start practice at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to that coming up a little bit later this hour. As Adam put it in the last segment, Joe, Boo Carter's on the roster as we speak. Fall camp opening up. They'll have the media day this week. So we'll see if or when Josh Heupel addresses the Boo Carter situation. I mean, look, at this point, it's not like he could enter the transfer portal and go play somewhere else this year. So he's either going to have to play or I guess just sit out a year if you're Boo Carter at this point, which is tough to imagine him doing. My guess is he's going to play and he's going to be on the roster, and then they're probably going to have a situation to figure out after this year. That's my guess.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I don't think – I mean, I think some of this stuff is weird, possibly stuff that has nothing to do with the – right, with the portal and
no, it's just I mean, if you look at some of it, apparently he's not doing things he needs to be doing.
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah.
he's not showing up to meetings, and he's not putting in the time that is required. So, if you're Heupel, you look at that and you say, on one hand, he's clearly one of your most talented players, and on the other hand, if he's not doing the things that other guys on your team are doing, do you tolerate that?
Right.
Like, how do you handle that if you're the head coach?
Yeah, and it's interesting too. We talk about the program question, and I tend to agree with Sparks, which is if you're hyper focused on one program, you see all the warts and everything, and if you paid closer attention to another program, there'd be almost situations that we don't know about that happen, right? But it's funny too. You're seeing like James Pierce right now, who actually, the interesting thing about Pierce is, a lot of stuff about him at Tennessee didn't come out until the draft process, but two things with him. One, apparently he's absolutely lighting up the Falcons camp so far. It's like, whoa. Also, he's starting fights. So
he's fighting everyone. Yeah.
He's fighting. But hey, I'd take that on my team.
Sure.
You're going to sack the quarterback, get in some fights with some guys? Yeah, let's do that. But there's another example of a guy who, look, who doesn't want James Pierce on their team? Who doesn't want Boo Carter on their team? Who doesn't want Nico on their team? Different situations.
Yep.
But it's always that you do have to. I mean, you don't want too much. A certain amount of turmoil can derail things, no matter how much talent you have. Going to be really interesting because it's just so when someone is as talented as Boo Carter, you hate to hear about stuff like not putting in the work or not showing up at stuff. It's like you can be a pro, maximize yourself and be a great college player and be so good. As a college player, you can be a difference maker for this team to elevate. So hopefully he figures it out.
Well, and part of the hope if you're a Tennessee fan this year is, number one, that the quarterback play and the offense as a whole is just better than it looks like they're going to be on paper. And number two, that the defense can come close to replicating what they were last year. Well, if they're going to do that, Boo Carter's going to have to be a big part of it, right? Like,
no doubt.
He's going to have to be. He is, I think unquestionably, but there's a couple guys you can make the argument for, but he is up there with your most talented players on the defensive side of the ball. Now, what version of Jermod McCoy are you getting? Like, if he's completely healthy, you're talking about a probable first-round pick at corner. So he would probably be at the head of the list. But Boo Carter, from just a pure raw ability standpoint, is up towards the top of your roster right now of players that you have. And that's on defense. We'll see how much they use him on offense. And I think he's got a chance to be like an all-SEC type of returner for you as well.
That makes a huge difference. Think about some of their toss-up games. A huge return, can make a difference in a game like that. That's the type of guy who can give you that. Yeah, and we'll see with the offense. I mean, the Braylon Staley name drop there from Annisburg. He's not the first one to drop that. Certainly
getting a lot of buzz.
There's a lot of buzz there, and that'd be great. But I still look at the receiving core, and I'm like, well, if they can find a way, it's kind of weird with this offense to think about that, the way that we're used to seeing Heupel use personnel at receiver, but they might need it.
I am interested to see if there is a running back. Obviously Samson was such a stud for them last year. Is there a running back that kind of grabs the bull by the horns and is that guy? Like they brought in Star Thomas from Duke, who had a total of, I think, 29 carries and 61 yards last year. So like Star Thomas is not going to be your bell cow. Does he get in the rotation as the third guy? Is Peyton Lewis, who I think they really like, is he going to be their number one back this year? Is it Deshaun Bishop? Is it basically Bishop's playing one series, Lewis is playing the next? I'm interested to see how they handle running back this year.
Yeah, like you said, they've been doing the 3 thing at times. That's been like, man, at times I feel like they've rotated too much at running back a little bit, but this may be the year where you do it until you really find something. I'd also agree with Sparks on just, I think if I'm a running back, honestly, more than a receiver, I love playing in this offense. Yep. I think of all the offensive positions, I think running back should be most in love with this offense because it's just like, wow, all those guys are way spread out over the field. I like this. So they haven't had great offensive line play, and they still had – and Dylan Sampson's a great talent on his own, so don't get me wrong. They've had some great players there, but I think they're going to get production there. They're going to have a good running game.
We'll have an early version of the Rob Rant coming up next.
Let's
the Brian
go.
Callahan press conference scheduled to be right around 7:40 this morning, so we will get to that later this hour as well. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, fantasy football right around the corner, and Twin Peaks is ready to host your fantasy football draft party. And their draft party package gives league commissioners and its members an elevated, easy experience along with scenic views, made from scratch food, and the coldest beer in the game. Each in-lodge package includes draft boards, player stickers, a $50 bonus commissioner bounce back card, and more. Call to book your draft party at the Twin Peaks in Cool Springs or Madison locations. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Hey, if you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself?
So it's a nice mix of mushy toilet paper.
Pittsburgh, let's weld.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
This would be
You can act like a man.
day 3.
I don't.
School still out.
We're going to stay
All day.
like a store.
Frozen.
Yeah, you will really get farted up with that stuff. Okay.
Chad, are you telling me that our best performer this year was the punter again?
Again.
It is that time of the day. An early version of the Rob Rant here on the program. By the way, let me clarify something real quick because I'm a total moron. Star Thomas had 871 yards rushing last year, which is partially my fault for not remembering that, but also partially Sports Reference is the site that I trust a lot, and they had him at 29 carries for 61 yards. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Very different.
That worries me because I treat Sports Reference as gospel.
They're usually good. They, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's another Star Thomas that also played for Duke, but off on this one.
That'd be a story.
It would be. So 213 carries for 871 yards last year.
That sounds better.
A little bit more like it.
Yeah.
There we go. Real quickly, Southwest Airlines, who I largely love and have been flying on Southwest Airlines for a long time, they really upset me this past week as I was traveling to and from Disney. And it's really not anything that directly affected me, but our flight from Orlando to Nashville was full, right? Like it sold out. So, they did the thing where they get on the intercom, 15 minutes before the flight happens. And it's like, we need some volunteers to bring us your bags and we'll check them for free because we're going to run out of overhead bin space, which every time they do this, it drives me insane because you sell the tickets, you sell the airplane. You know exactly how many seats are on there. If you can't have an airplane where everybody gets one carry-on, where you could put an overhead bin, which is what the price comes with, by the way, then don't sell it. Don't sit here 15 minutes before the flight. Oh, hey, guys, we're going to run out of overhead room. We need 10 people to come up and check your bags for free, which, by the way, I think more people would probably continue to check their bags had you not just started charging $35 to check a bag when you've been free for the last, forever. So Southwest Airlines, don't get on the intercom 15 minutes before the flight takes off and start talking about how they need 10 volunteers to come up and check your bags. You sell the plane, you sell the tickets, accommodate people's space.
Is it people bringing more than one? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think you're allowed
that's
to.
It. Yeah.
Like you can have your one overhead bin and your one that you carry in your seat with you that goes under the seat.
But I feel like
I don't know. Maybe somebody brings 5 of them in there. I don't know.
Well, I think some people do bring those 2, but then they put both in the overhead. I don't know. But
how would you know that before the flight?
Right. It's like you're just assuming that some
people
people are going to. If not, you're absolutely right. Then you are mistreating your customers.
Yeah, you've sold the tickets. You know how many people are on the flight. So get enough overhead room to accommodate that.
Right.
I don't know what, it boggles my mind every time. It's like, well, the flight's going to be full. It's like, do you guys not expect the flights to be full? Most of the time I'm on a plane, the flights are full. I don't know what to tell you. Very rarely do I come across, it's like, we actually on the way down there, we had a not full plane. And I was like, this is awesome. This never happens to me. There's only
stretch out.
There's 15 available seats back here. That never happens, which was great.
Yeah, that is. It's like, okay, so you have these seats. Did you not build a plane with the corresponding bag room? Seems like it is, right?
You would think.
If you go 3 across and then go up to the bin up there, seems like it's enough room for everybody to put a bag in there.
And even that, I can understand. All right, maybe we were anticipating some bigger bags in the overhead bid, so you need 2 or 3 volunteers. They said 10. I was like, 10 volunteers? Did they just not build overhead space in this plane? What's going on?
They're asking for 10. How many did they get? 10?
They got, I think, 6 or 7.
Yeah. So they're over asking. Yeah. Do you guys get the You get the family boarding.
Oh,
Right? So that's pretty sweet.
I didn't have to.
Allison coming in handy.
I was not going to worry. I was not going to run out of the overhead bin.
Yeah,
I'll be on.
You're
the
gonna be fine. You
don't have to wake up for that check-in. Yeah, just
I don't even worry about it.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. So you just like see whatever and just Allison, you're the ticket.
Yeah, just pop right on. Which and you can feel. It's especially when you're going to Orlando because like half the plane is family boarding.
Yeah,
you can feel the people that just like hate you looking at you walking on the plane. They just wave at them. Hope you guys have a nice flight.
That is true though.
Enjoy C-24 back there.
There are a lot though. That's so right.
Yeah.
So okay. So when there's that many, do they care? They still don't care about your seat assignment. It's just however fast you line up to the family line. Yeah.
And I'm near the front every time.
Yeah.
Tell Heather, I'm
I
like,
bet
hey,
you are.
It's time to get up. I know we don't board for another 25 minutes, but let's get over here to the front. Thank you.
Brian, real quick, says my blood boils when farting. I don't think I can say that word. Board flights with multiple guitar cases, which take up an enormous amount.
Yeah,
that is true. The guitar cases can suck up some room.
It can. We will have the Brian Callahan press conference coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We will have the Brian Callahan press conference live from training camp coming up here momentarily. He's scheduled to speak right now. So we'll see when Brian Callahan hops up to the podium there. But
is he late again?
Usually pretty prompt.
He was late last week.
Couple minutes.
What's going on? What is going on? Is it hat? Is it if
you had the hat on forward,
hat
probably
fashioning the hat correctly?
The hat was on forward, he'd probably be a little bit more on time.
I think so. To lead him to the presser, instead of pulling him back.
I mean, does he know that we moved up the ramp just for him?
He must not know. He must not care. He probably does it. He's just sitting there laughing at us.
Or maybe he's a big staunch defender of Southwest Airlines and the overhead bin space that they have.
That's true.
Very upset with what we just did. I don't know.
By the way, Ed said he could be Section 810 and he'd fume at the family boarding.
Oh, okay.
Those family boarders. I've been mad at them too before.
Oh, I'm sure. Look, I've been mad at him before. And then I took advantage of it when Allison was born and was like, hey,
this is a sweet deal. I like this.
Pretty nice.
This is a good policy.
I like this. When is the assigned seating scheduled to come in for South? Is it next year?
It's soon.
Okay.
I guess. I thought it was already going to be.
No, it's not in there yet.
No, I know, but when they initially communicated, I thought it was going to happen sometime this year.
We'll see.
Brian?
Jerry says,
on?
Robby, it's the losers that bring their bag and backpack that is bigger than their bag and a purse and a diaper bag and a sack from the gift shop that's been going on long before they started charging. Just limit people to one carry-on and everything would be fine. I'm with you.
One bag altogether, Jerry?
I kind of view that, especially, before we had Allison, as a challenge. Like, I never checked it back. I was like, I don't care if we're going somewhere for a week and a half. I will pack it all into a carry-on. I'll figure it out. Yeah. And now, with the toddler, it's impossible.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're over a long trip, bigger liquids and stuff like that, check a bag. But no, I think, a small suitcase and your little backpack.
Well, that's the thing, that the carry-ons now are so large.
Yeah.
They're just like massive. They're almost our entire suitcase. So people, take advantage of that whole, hey, does it fit in the bin?
Right.
Kinda, not really. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what you're saying is maybe I was a little too harsh on Southwest Airlines.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Robert says Brian is practicing his speech in the mirror. He's looking out there. He sees Kaharski out there. He's like,
hat? No hat? How does it look?
Deep breaths.
I'm going just hair today? Swoof.
Dexter says being on time is for nerds.
Pads are coming on. It's when real football starts to get played.
That's right. Dennis is asking, do you have to take your shoes off at security or has that ended? That is
I did not
ending?
have to.
Yeah.
I did not have to in the Nashville airport or the Orlando airport.
Interesting.
Shoes on both times.
Okay. Because here and there, I've had situations where it's like, yeah, you're fine.
Early June, I had to take them off.
Yeah.
So it must have been that's a recent change, I think.
And I didn't even tell you guys that, we went and got the real ID a few weeks ago and we're prepared for it just not showing up in time. When I tell you we left on Saturday and the real ID came in the mail on Friday, it was awesome.
Wow.
I mean, it was perfect.
That is big time.
I made it through, Here, they didn't really care too much.
Extra screening.
Yeah, I had my temporary and I had my old ID. But when we were coming back from Florida, they did the whole little hand swipe on me.
Yeah, I got the hand swipe. I'm glad that Brian Callahan has decided not to do his press conference so that we could have this conversation. We could have this time. We could have this time together.
I love their little, stall music. It's just great.
Yeah. Hey, that at least tells you that they're expecting him up on the podium at some point here too. We'll see what happens on
Is
that.
He okay? Is this breaking news? Brian Callahan okay?
Yeah, all right. Look, it's a detailed practice plan. Got to go over at training camp. They got to get out there.
I mean, Karski right now is getting antsy in that front row.
Oh,
he is. He's up there just absolutely. He's got so many questions bursting out of him.
But again, training camp practices, there's a limitation to what they mean. I will say when they get into the pads and they get into the shells, at least you can start to determine a little bit more about the trenches, right? Because when it's just helmets and T-shirts and shorts and they're running around out there, I don't put a whole lot of stock into what happens on the offensive and or defensive lines at that point.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, you'll start to Figures this is a big, to me, big day, big week for the offensive line to win consistently. I'm sorry, but no, Arden Key can be a problem. He's going to make some plays this year, but
we've seen him do it in camp before.
Yeah. And some in games.
Some being the key word.
Yeah. Yeah. It's certainly not consistent, but like he's capable of beating on offensive linemen, but you want to see the offensive line, to me, win more than it loses. January 27th, 2026 is what a texter is saying for when we have
assigned seats.
Assigned seating.
Okay.
But yeah, I've come to totally embrace their system. Pretty sad.
I'm actually okay with the assigned seats, particularly if it avoids people like stretching out. Like I saw somebody on the plane where they got on. I guess they were before family boarding, and I guess they were trying to save the seats for everybody else, and they had like their entire foot stretched out. I was like, ease up, dude. If you just tell me you're saving the seat, it's all good. You don't have to stick your whole foot out.
No, I make myself try to like just go Jabba the Hutt, and I'm like, you don't want to try to sit in this middle seat. Look at me like spread out on here. Keep moving. I guess that's true. And plus you don't have to worry about oh my God, I didn't check in right at the exact, I forgot. Now I'm a seat.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part.
And Allison,
5:30 a.m. flight, waking up 5:30. Well, I guess that's not an issue for us, but the morning before to check in.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'd rather not have to do that.
Yes. Now that's a good thing.
Only to still get like B35.
The best is when you're like A-list. Well, I've traveled enough in some years where I'm like A-list no matter what. So even if you forget, you're going to get A like 59, you're going to be fine. So is this the last time we trust Brian Callahan to start a press conference on time?
I think he's up there now.
Oh!
All right. Good morning. Excited for the first day of pads here. Looking to keep improving on where we started from the offseason into the training camp portion. Now we actually get to do some real football. We get to fit up and thud and see guys come off the ball and work on block combinations and playing off combinations and linebackers fitting and all the things that you want to see in pads. So today should be a fun day, and I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, wish you guys have at it.
Pass rush one-on-ones today?
Yeah, 37-on-7.
How valuable is that?
It's valuable in the sense that it's an opportunity for guys to work on their craft. I don't know that necessarily is a drill that's telling of a guy's ability to pass protect or not. It's just it's a technique drill. It's a little bit skewed defensively on that regard. So it's good. It's the right drill for technique, but it's a drill.
How much offensive line says that obviously they need the pads on in order to show what they've got, because the defense always seems to have an advantage with the first few days of camp. What do you need to see out of that group today in terms of cohesion and getting the job done?
Yeah, just what you said. Cohesion's a big part of it. How we come off the ball, how we work in combination together with all the different combination blocks that happen up front. Just see what those actually get to look like when we can really come off the ball the right way. Anytime you're not in pads, you're mindful of that banging back and forth. So we get to go now. The governors are off, and we can come off the football, and all those things are a part of the process, but excited to be able to see it happen for real finally.
Brian, you guys have been here all that long, obviously, but three straight years were first-round picks really have contributed very little to the team. How much does that kind of put you guys now at a bit of a disadvantage because of what happened?
Yeah, hard to comment on what and why things happened before, and what decisions were made at those moments. But at the end of the day, we're trying to continue to add good players so we can have a chance to be more competitive and win more football games. So feel good about the guys we've added since we've been here, and those guys have contributed for us and will continue to. I'm excited about our first round pick this year, which is good.
Brian, what have you told the guys about extracurricular things after the play? You full pads for the last year's problem with Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
You told the guys anything, don't do it, stay away from it. What's been the message?
Same message as it was last year, in the sense that it's a penalty first and foremost. There's nothing worse than watching guys swing at each other with helmets on. You're not accomplishing anything. And that we want to protect each other. So those things aren't acceptable. We don't tolerate it. Tempers flare in training camp. I'm not naive. This isn't my first training camp. I get how it happens. But we don't want that. And I've expressed that pretty straightforwardly to our team. And so, again, if you get some pushing and shoving and all that happens, but we don't want any fights. That's not football.
How does your approach with Cameron Ward this year differ from the way you did things last year?
I don't know. That'd be hard to say. I mean, we still teach the offense. We still go about our process pretty similarly from a schematic and system standpoint, I think. I've always coached quarterbacks a very particular way, and I think Bo does it the same way I do it, along with Nick. We've got a pretty, I think, consistent approach to how we coach the position. So hard to say there's a lot of differences that I could point out at the moment, but yeah, there's certainly things that cater to the personality, that cater to the type of player, depending on the differences. So that's something that does come up. But anything that jumps out, I'd have to think a little harder on that one for you, TD.
You had mentioned the daily development for Cameron Ward. What's the daily development like for you? Just as a quarterback coach, so to speak.
Yeah.
I know obviously the head coach, but I mean, just
are you talking about quarterback play?
Yeah, for you, daily development, working with Cameron Ward. Like, what are some of the things that are different now as opposed to when we first got out here?
Well, we're just the volume of what we're seeing. So the difference between like his spring is the install process is a little slower. It's kind of one install a day, and then you have days in between, and now you come to training camp and you rip off like 9 straight installs. So every day there's more coming. There's more looks from the defense, and it's coming at a more rapid pace, and so you have to pick it up. It's now all being condensed, and we're sort of in a race against every other team in the league to get all of our stuff down. And the biggest thing to me is just the operation versus our defense, with the amount of pressures we see, the handling of the protection. So again, the third downs are a big part of it. That process every day is every look, every defensive pressure, every time we get a chance to coach off those things is a huge part of the development. We can't get enough of it.
With more coming for Cam, as you were saying, how has he maybe responded to that uptick?
Fantastic. He's really done a nice job on the mental side of things. A lot of it's because he works really hard at it. There's a lot of effort put in on his part to know what to do, to know how to do it. I think that you start to see where things he's comfortable with. So there's some things that he likes better than others, like every quarterback. And so you're starting to get a better feel for me on my end on what he likes, what he feels comfortable with, and where are some things that we got to keep working on so he feels like he's at the right place when we go play in September. So we got a lot of work ahead still.
The inside linebackers get Cam a few times with the interceptions. Is that any concern of like I guess a blind spot, or do you tie any of that together? Or?
No, certainly things you got to correct and coach off of. One of the minor things that shows up sometimes is quarterbacks generally have a lot of confidence in trying to throw the ball over people, and that's a thing in the NFL you don't get away with very often. And so just you learn that. You learn that these guys get enough depth. They're where they're supposed to be. It's hard to throw the ball over people, and he's had 2 or 3 of those to Cody. And then the one in the stadium was just a really nice. Cam got moved off his spot in the pocket, so he's a little bit late to it. And then James made a great break on the ball. That one was just a really good play by James. But those are the things you coach and you keep working on, and you keep showing where the alternative throw could have been. And he gets it every time we go through it. So it's a good process.
On Lloyd, how's Levin done? And are you working some other guys in there?
Yeah, Corey's done a really nice job. I've kind of praised Corey previously, but he's stepped up. He's done a good job managing the line, making the calls, having guys on the same page. I've been really happy with what Corey's done. You see his veteranness, the amount of football he's been around, it shows up. So it's been super helpful to keep progressing for us up front. He's done a really, really good job there. Ruppich has gotten some snaps at center. Brewer snaps at center. Jackson Slater could at some point. He hasn't really done much of that at the moment. But we're rotating guys back through there. Sam Mustapher gets a little bit of work in there as well at center. So we got some guys rolling. They're doing a good job, and we'll find out a little bit more when we get the pads today. But I think Corey's been very good for us.
Atlanta concedes that ladder work is not his strength.
Sure.
When a guy's not good on the ladder, how much does that translate to his actual footwork, and what degree is that a concern?
Not a lot. Some guys got really great feet in the ladder. It's it's a drill, and it's something you can get better at. You can improve your ladder ability. But it doesn't show up. I mean, he can still get out of the top of his routes. He can still make a cut at the top of the break, and it doesn't show up in that. Some guys, the bigger guys, sometimes have a tougher time with the ladders, the longer legs, but that doesn't really I don't see it translate into his route running.
You're smiling. He takes grief for it. It's kind of like, don't think.
Sure. Yeah.
How much more with the pads going on? How much more can you see and I guess evaluate the one-on-one matchups between the receivers and the DBs, like press coverage drills?
That's a big part too. It's very similar to the one-on-one pass rush. It's a drill. It's not the end all be all for what they're doing, but it is a chance for those guys just to feel, especially our young players, what press coverage feels like. We don't get to work a ton versus press in the off season because of the rules. And then even when you do, it's the physicality is not the same when you got pads on. And so it's a good drill to work. It's good for your technique, to work your releases, all those stuff. It's great. We'll do it today. It's just part of the process of getting guys ready to go play football on the perimeter, and the corners too. The corners need the same work that our receivers work. It goes both ways.
Brian, going back to James Williams, where have you seen them take steps? Obviously, he takes it from the mental side.
Yeah, the mental side's probably been his biggest improvement, and the mental side of knowing what to do, but then being able to diagnose and do it. That's been the jump he's made the most. Is he's much more comfortable in where his eyes are supposed to be, reacting to whatever blocking combinations he's seeing, gap plays, zone plays, being where he's supposed to be in the fit, and then doing a much better job in pass coverage too, just understanding where to be on the field in zone and where his eyes are supposed to be in man. His improvement has been noticeable, and I'm excited to see that continue.
There's the reason why we talk when young quarterbacks join teams that aren't very good and are drafting high about them potentially sitting, waiting, developing. When you take the guy first overall, it's not really much of a question. But what is it about Cam that makes you confident if things get ugly, if this situation is really rough for him in the season, that his development won't be stunted, he'll be able to handle it anyways?
Yeah, playing quarterback in the NFL, I don't think there's any substitutes of playing quarterback. There's so many things they learn when they play the game that you can't necessarily simulate and teach. That part of being in the fire is what helps quarterbacks get better faster. So I've always been a big believer in guys playing. That's how they improve. And so his demeanor gives me a ton of confidence that he can handle a rough spot or two. Because look, it's the reality of quarterback playing the league and being a young player. Like, there's going to be ups and downs. It happens. But you see his demeanor, his heart rate never changes. He doesn't flinch when it comes to a mistake or two, and he just goes right back and does it again. And I think that's the makeup you have to have as an NFL quarterback, because every quarterback in the league throws interceptions. Every quarterback in the league gets sacked. Every quarterback in the league loses games, and so you have to battle through those moments. And the mindset and the makeup of the person is really what separates guys, and being able to handle those things. So Cam has shown thus far that he's up to that task, and there's still things to come, and still things he's going to have to deal with. But pleased with his ability to handle it so far.
I know there's certain ways that Treylon could still end up on the roster at some point, but at this point, is it likely that his tenure is probably over?
I mean, hard to say at this point. Maybe we waived him injured, and if he doesn't get claimed, he reverts back to IR, and he's in the normal IR process. So at this moment, don't really have much more to add to it as far as conjecture goes.
After the whole offseason of the penalty emphasis and everything, is there at least a tiny bit of symbolism that you get to the stadium? Your defensive line jumps off sides on the first play of defensive line period. They jump off sides, I think, on the first play of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see that now in a drill. I get it, a drill, but yeah, I don't want to see it in a team period. Certainly, that's one of the things that we're trying to do a better job of. Those guys are trying to get off the ball too and time up the cadence. That's part of it. But yeah, certainly don't want to see, free 5 yards for an offense, and don't want to see our offense take away 5 yards for us either in the same vein. So had a penalty or two at the stadium. You're going to have penalties, but it's the ones that I think that we can control, that we got to do a better job of. So yeah, don't want to see it, and we address it and correct it, and we keep moving forward with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All righty, that was head coach Brian Callahan. We will come back and react to what he had to say there. This is Robby and
Bring it on home, PK.
102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Broadcasting from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Brian Callahan just wrapping up his press conference, and they are on the field in pads today. Titans training camp. Tune in for player interviews, the latest updates on the Titans training camp as the team preps for the 2025 season. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by Macero in 12 South and Parman Energy Group. Joe, we just wrapped up Brian Callahan's press conference. We have a beautiful illustration that you're giving our audience on our YouTube stream and our Twitter stream as well.
Look at that. Oh, yeah.
Game face.
Look at that. Get your game face on.
Pads are coming on today.
Goodness.
Pads are coming on today. Anything in particular stand out to you from Brian Callahan's press conference that just wrapped up?
He was late.
He was late.
And then, do you find symbolism like a James Joyce poem in your offsides? Archie!
I love how PK saved that to the last question, too. He's like, oh, since we're still here, you find any symbolism in your squad jumping offsides immediately in the stadium?
Can we talk about how much you suck? We haven't talked about that.
Outrage.
One thing that stood out as someone brought up on the YouTube chat, TD's pushing the Cameron Ward thing.
He is.
TD's saying Cam. Everybody else is saying Cam. TD's saying Cameron.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
I mean, we don't need this. Yeah, we still don't know who's. How do you say UC Saros' last name? Mariota. We went Mariota for years and years. I just want to try to fix this and figure it out. Let's all agree on something. So he's available tomorrow, right? I think that's right.
I believe that is correct.
Someone needs to just say, do you prefer Cam or Cameron? And then go with it.
I want to say he's been asked that at some point, and I think he said he doesn't really care. But we need him to nail it down.
No, yeah, you can't say I don't care. I mean, again, I understand you don't want to come off like you must call me, but it's just like, what would you prefer? It's not. You're not mandating that we call you a certain name. Just what would you prefer? And then everybody should do it. I mean, if it's Cameron, I'm trying to think who, how many quarterbacks in the NFL go by like their full name as opposed to their shortened
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. There you go. His dad was Pat.
Russ and Russell.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russ Wilson. Could be Russ.
Russell instead of Russ.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. There's a couple right there.
Happens all over the place.
I'm trying to think. Who else would you have out there? Jared, Aaron. No. We don't have Joshua Allen.
No.
I guess Drake, but I mean, if the full name is a one syllable, then that doesn't really count, right?
Yeah.
No, we're not going Joseph Burrow.
We could go Dakota. Too bad we're not going for Dak there.
Dakota Prescott. He really should switch.
Is that his name?
I think so.
I honestly never knew that. His name is Dakota?
I think so.
I think it's like Dakota Rain or something like that.
I never knew that. That is interesting.
Matthew Stafford.
We don't go
Stafford. Yeah.
Matthew. There you go. Matthew instead of Matt. Some people say Matt Stafford, but for the most part, he goes by Matthew Stafford.
Dak Prescott's name is Rain Dakota.
Oh, it's Rain
Prescott.
Dakota. Okay, I had it backwards.
Okay.
Rain Dakota Prescott.
Interesting. I guess if Jackson Dart becomes, he could be Jax because it's Jaxon, but he's Jackson.
We got to get to the bottom of it. What does he want to be called? Cameron or Cam?
Why the heck am I blanking on? Why the heck am I blanking on? Okay, Kirk. I don't know what would Kirk's Michael Penix, not Mike.
Yeah,
Michael, not Mike.
This is a more prevalent quarterback.
It is more prevalent.
Maybe we thought.
We didn't have Thomas. Maybe Thomas Brady would have been even greater. He might have been.
He may have made your top 10 list for greatest quarterbacks of all time.
He might have. Brock is Brock. I guess that's a whole name, right? Brock is it? There's not like a full name of Brock, right? Yeah. Brocklin, Broccoli. It's just Brock, right?
It's just Brock.
It's a couple of Joes that don't go by Joseph.
They don't go by Joseph. Yeah. But okay, yeah. So hey, whatever you want is fine, but just let's just nail it down. Let's nail it down. Let's all do it. Let's all do it. Because it sounds like TD's.
If he wants to be called Cameron, I have no problem calling him Cameron.
We'll do it. Let's get it going right now before he plays a game.
I agree.
And that's what it is, And that's absolutely. I mean, he needs to be like, look, just what's your preferences? You can't give an I don't care. Because obviously, I mean, TD did a big story on him for ESPN.com, talked to his family, all that stuff. I assume maybe during that conversation, there was, actually, I prefer. I mean, I remember I did a Josiah James story for The Athletic when he came in as a recruit a long time ago. And,
they played Tennessee
everybody,
for 12 years.
Yeah, and everybody called him Josiah Jordan James. And I'm like, do you prefer that or just Josiah? He's like, yeah, just Josiah. His mom said the same thing. So I'm the only person. I would always write Josiah James. And everybody else was Josiah-Jordan James. Like, well, they told me.
Yeah.
But I guess that was another situation where we all should have agreed on something, right?
I agree.
Especially when you're going to have a college career that lasts a decade.
Yeah, if you're going to be in college for, a quarter century, it's time to nail down what the name's going to be.
Yes.
What's he doing now, by the way?
That's a good question. I want to say that there was an overseas, but he had a lot of injuries too.
He did.
He was banged up. That's a good question. I don't know. I know
he's a player for the Indiana Mad Ants of the NBA G League.
Okay, there you go.
According to his Wikipedia overview.
So you're going
may or may not
from
be true.
Pro Football from reference,
sports reference,
which isn't good all the time. Apparently
that.
Going right to Wikipedia. Go with them.
I'm going with that. It works out well.
Yes.
Well, speaking of Cam or Cameron Ward, a lot of buzz out there about him not getting buzz. What does that all mean? We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
What is it about Cam that makes you confident if things get ugly, if this situation is really rough for him in the season, that his development won't be stunted, he'll be able to handle it anyways?
Yeah, playing quarterback in the NFL, I don't think there's any substitutes of playing quarterback. There's so many things they learn when they play the game that you can't necessarily simulate and teach. That part of being in the fire is what helps quarterbacks get better faster. So I've always been a big believer in guys playing. That's how they improve. And so his demeanor gives me a ton of confidence that he can handle a rough spot or two. Because look, it's the reality of quarterback playing the league and being a young player. Like, there's going to be ups and downs. It happens. But you see his demeanor, his heart rate never changes. He doesn't flinch when it comes to a mistake or two, and he just goes right back and does it again. And I think that's the makeup you have to have as an NFL quarterback, because every quarterback in the league throws interceptions. Every quarterback in the league gets sacked. Every quarterback in the league loses games, and so you have to battle through those moments. And the mindset and the makeup of the person is really what separates guys, and being able to handle those things. So Cam has shown thus far that he's up to that task, and there's still things to come and still things he's going to have to deal with. But pleased with his ability to handle it so far.
That's Brian Callahan on Cameron Ward, and his ability to handle some adversity, which, as he points out, we're going to see at times this year. It's a young quarterback. It will be up and down. We'll see how he handles that process. I got some tickets to give away. A pair of tickets to see Volbeat and Hailstorm at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on Saturday, August the 2nd, which is this Saturday. Be caller 2, 615-737-1025. Caller 2 will win a pair of tickets to see Volbeat and Hailstorm at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on Saturday. Caller number 2, 615-737-1025. Joe, a lot of talk out there about Cam Ward being maybe the least discussed number 1 overall pick in recent memory. We've talked about that before here on the show. We've had a lot of callers, a lot of texters talk about how no one's talking about Cam Ward. And at The Athletic, Jacob Robinson has put out a story about, hey, what's going on with Cam Ward out there? And in that talks about how, hey, no one's really talking about Cam Ward. There's a lot of discussion lately, Joe, about how Cam Ward is not being discussed. What do we make of all of this?
Well, here's a story about Cam Ward, talking about how nobody's talking about Cam Ward. I think we're starting to catch up a little bit with some people talking about Cam Ward. But one question Jacob brings up here says, has any quarterback drafted first overall seen such little media attention as Cam Ward? And he says, not this century. Even the relatively minimally heralded Alex Smith, 2005's number 1 pick, graced covers of magazine and newspapers across the country. He points out that, like Travis Hunter was on, Sports Illustrated with a nice fishing trip with Pat Forty. He says this lack of publicity is on par with non-quarterbacks such as Trevon Walker, number 1 in 22, who was overshadowed by Aiden Hutchinson, which is an interesting point too. But in the meantime, I think that we are getting, we're starting to get some notice, some excitement, some hype, some buzz. We talked about it yesterday. He's probably one of 2, right? I'm gonna not like Spencer Rattlers. If he's already losing out and is taking 2's reps and Tyler Shuck's taking 1's reps, I'm gonna say we're gonna be talking about 2 rookie quarterbacks on opening day.
I would agree.
But who's excited about Tyler Shuck? Come on. Let's be honest. Played at freaking Louisville. Oh, sorry, Lamar Jackson. I apologize. And Johnny Unitas. That's pretty good. that right there, that's pretty good for your quarterback.
Johnny Unitas, history. Lamar Jackson, Jared Stillman. What a trio of that school.
And they've had some other good QBs over the years. Teddy Bridgewater. How about that?
Yeah.
Not bad, actually. Now I think about it. Another interesting, but something linked in this, it is this, and I missed this. This actually goes back, I think, pre-draft. But 25 years of NFL history, and this is also by Jacob and Rossini. They do the Scoop City podcast. An interesting stat that I had not seen before, but of the 25 years, the first quarterback drafted in a particular draft, and maybe this isn't surprising, but the first quarterback drafted in a draft in this century, 40% of the time becomes the best of those quarterbacks. which I think is, is interesting. Now, of course, so you're talking the exceptions would be like, oh, God, there's some great exceptions. For example, Mitch Trubisky is
EJ
17.
Manuel.
Yeah, EJ Manuel, Mitch Trubisky in 17. Patrick Mahomes was taken in that draft. Bryce Young. Well, these recent ones don't really matter too much. Blake Bortles in 14 was the first quarterback drafted. Derek Carr would be the best QB out of the draft. But 40% of the time, that's not bad. That's a decent success rate. Some people may not think that sounds very good, but I think that's actually a pretty good number.
Well, it's also included, like, for instance, Jameis Winston was the first quarterback taken in 2015, and they have determined that Jameis Winston was the best quarterback in that draft.
And that's a good point.
That does not speak strongly of that quarterback class.
That's right, because some of these classes are just bad, and so by default, you are the best in the class. Matt Ryan in 08, great. Matthew Stafford in 09, great. But like then the next year, that's 08, that's 09. The next year, Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford's the best. Right. So like in Andrew Luck in 12, great. I mean, even Cam Newton, MVP season, got the Super Bowl. Like at this point, the fact, he's still fine. That's still fine as your top guy. And of course, Titans fans know well that in 2006, the number one quarterback taken was Vince Young. The best quarterback out of that draft was Jay Cutler. Here's a good little piece of trivia for you. We know in 07, Jamarcus Russell, one of the all-time busts in the NFL. Have you read this already?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. Well, then I'll throw it out to the group. We all know that Jamarcus Russell would not be considered the best quarterback from the 2007 class, but who would be considered the best quarterback?
Never guess.
First one on the text line to answer this correctly. I'm actually making posters of this Jared Stillman picture. So I will print one up for you and have him sign it. Okay.
What a prize.
Best quarterback in the 2007 class.
Yeah. You'll really go take a trip down memory lane.
I mean, that's true. That's truly amazing. Like, every other one is like at least
somebody you've heard of.
Yeah. I mean, my God, 02 though, David Carr, and then David Garrard is the best one of that class.
Hey, David Garrard had some moments for the Jags.
Duval.
Yeah.
Did he ever? So Cam Ward, I mean, he's getting, Cam Ward is getting some hype. I mean, he made a couple nice throws the other day, and I saw a lot of reaction, including in this, to those couple of throws. People want to get excited about a number one pick, even not outside of Nashville. Like the NFL wants to get excited about a number one pick.
Well, and look, if he comes out of the gate and is making some big plays early, it will garner some attention. Like, I've talked about this. Really, regardless, and I understand, like the Tennessee Titans are never going to get the same level of national media attention that the Cowboys get, or that the Steelers or the or any of these historically just iconic franchises. So I understand that. But like, how often were we talking about the Kansas City Chiefs before Mahomes got there? Like, they were a good team, and we were mainly talking about Andy Reid being the coach and not being able to win big games. And then Mahomes got there, and they're on TV every week, right? Like, they're on national TV all the time. So Cam Ward's a great player. The Titans are going to get their fill of discussion around the league, but he's got to be a great player first.
Yes, that would be
that would help.
thing. That's the rub right there. Weston Clarksville says, shouldn't this be a good thing? Maybe Cam won't feel as much pressure. Yeah, I don't know. Does that really matter? Like, if there's all this, I think there's a ton of pressure, and you're the number one pick, right? I mean, you're still already here. You're the guy at the podium. So I think the pressure of being that. But I do feel like, from all outside appearances, that he seems like someone who can shrug that off pretty well.
Nobody has guessed the best quarterback.
I mean, I'm looking at the list, and I can't even figure it out.
Yeah.
Just looking at the list of quarterbacks.
I will tell you,
the best quarterback in 2007, according to this list.
I will tell you that Nathan from Lawrenceburg, and this is a guy I covered in college, you actually might be correct, and this article may be wrong, because he said Drew Stanton, who never was, he started here and there. He was a good backup in the NFL for a long time, but I think that might compare favorably to the guy that they listed as the most successful quarterback, right?
I mean, the guy that they listed as the most successful quarterback, and I guess this will give it away if you really dig into the stats, but for his career, threw for 6,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 30 picks.
That's who they gave it to, huh?
I mean,
well, there's no really good option. They're all terrible.
All right, let me look at Drew Stanton's career.
Stanton had it's on here.
You know what the
2,000 yards less total.
You know
is that right? Okay.
Yeah. You know
all
what
right,
the nickname is for the nickname for the player? You know, Pro Football Reference does these nicknames.
Yeah.
And then Trevor Lawrence is the prince who was promised.
Yeah.
Brady's the pharaoh and all that stuff.
Sure.
The nickname given for this specific player that we're talking about, who, according to this list at The Athletic, is the best quarterback in 2007 draft, Captain Checkdown.
I feel like that's been given to a few people.
Captain
Second
Checkdown.
most yards in that draft, Kevin Cobb.
Yeah, someone guessed Kevin Cobb.
So
Someone guessed
guess.
Engel Martin.
Boy, that class sucked, huh?
Was it Brady Quinn?
Terrible.
Brady Quinn was a different. Well, Brady.
No, that's the same class.
Brady Quinn was the top drafted, right?
Other than Jamarcus, yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So actually, Brady Quinn is a good guess. Hey, look at this: Roy from Brentwood, Trent Edwards. There you go, best quarterback in the 07 class. My goodness,
Trent Edwards.
So you just never. So being the top in your class isn't always that impressive. You got to look a little deeper.
Most people have not even heard of Trent Edwards around here.
Captain Checkdown. I think there's some other Captain Checkdowns in this.
Captain Checkdown is what they've got. That's the only nickname for Trent Edwards on this list. We got a lot more of your thoughts to get to on our text line. We'll do that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Our phone number 615-737-1025. More on the Titans next. Robby and Rexrode 1025-1063 The Game. This week's Nashville's best deal is Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken, bursting with heat and flavor. There's nothing better than the original. For a limited time, grab half off a $25 gift card at theGameNashville.com/deals. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. We are taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Talking about the quarterbacks drafted in 2007. A lot of bad quarterbacks on this list. People are talking about Troy Smith winning the Heisman Trophy in college football. Was that 2007 when he did that?
No, Troy Smith won the Heisman Trophy, I believe, in 2005.
2005. Okay.
So I guess the 2007 quarterbacks are obviously the 2006 season, but I don't think he won it in 2006. I think he won it in 2005. Check my work. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I think find out. I think that's right. I think Troy Smith was the 2005 Heisman winner.
2006.
Okay. Really? Yeah. Well, see? Good call. Good call, Chris Jenkins on the text line. I apologize. I'm actually pretty excited about being only 1 year off. It's actually quite a win for me. Thank you. Texter says, our national media is hyped for bad form, though. The one clip Pat McAfee showed at Cam Ward was him rolling left, throwing right across his body deep to Ridley. Is that not the type of play we don't want our QB to make? A deep cross-body throw is always talked about as the most susceptible throw to be an interception. Yeah, I mean, but sometimes – if you extend a play, right, and at that point, sometimes you got guys who get separation, right? So it's one of those things where if you can extend a play, which, by the way, I know people got all over Dane Brugler on the bigger Kyler Murray, but that is the thing with Kyler Murray is he has the sense to extend plays, and then he makes plays like that. So in general, I think you're right. That was a pretty good play. It was practice. Yeah. And you also, in practice, you're supposed to be trying some things that you don't, that you maybe wouldn't do in a game, things like that. Well, but I just thought that play was the extended play, and he saw a guy and he made a play.
And there will be situations this year, I have no doubt about it, where he does something like that and it works out great and he makes a huge play down the field, whether it's a touchdown or not. And there are probably going to be a couple times this year where he's running for his life, extending a play, and he tries something across the body and it ends up as a pick six the other way, right? Like, you're going to have to deal with that as you're talking about a rookie quarterback here. And you hope at the end of the day, as you look back on the totality of the season, that the good outweighs the bad and that he's making progress. But yeah, like that throw he made the other day at Nissan Stadium, I said it yesterday, it's the type of throw that you expect the number one overall pick to make from time to time. Yeah. So you're going to see that this year from Cam Ward. I have no doubt you will see him make some incredible throws, and you're probably going to see a few times where he tries to make a throw like that and it ends up in a total disaster.
Yeah. Like I think one of the big highlights he had of last year was that play against Florida where he escapes the pocket. He's drifting left. He throws, I guess it's not technically across his body. It's like, but it's throwing sort of the other way for a touchdown, which was a hell of a play. Also, it's a play where you watch it and you're like, see, in the NFL, that might well be a pick. Yeah. Like the guys in coverage, that might end up being a pick, but it was a great play. So you expect him to make some big broken plays. And then, Callahan addressed today some of the picks over the middle and things like that some of the linebackers have been getting on some stuff. And so you just hope you learn from those things and get better and have fewer of those mistakes.
Well, and the pads go on today at training camp. So it's the first semi-real look of offensive linemen taking on defensive linemen and what that's going to look like. Now, you heard Callahan in his press conference talk about the one-on-ones there and how that's not necessarily a great reflection of what pass protection looks like on the one-on-one drills, which I understand. But, a first part of the offensive line with the pads coming on to really get the cohesion going and to look like they've got a clue by the time week one rolls out there. He mentioned Corey Levin. There's no telling when Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be ready and is going to play at this point. So in the meantime, how well can Corey Levin play at the center position? And how much of a limitation will that be, not having your starting center if Cushenberry is not able to go in the first few weeks of the season here?
Yeah, to me, that thing is just you just have to look at it right now. Like Corey Levin's your starter. You got to have as much comfort as possible with him and Cam. You got to have as much comfort as possible with both guards in the whole operation. He is a veteran. Sure, he can handle the mental aspects of it. There's a pretty big drop off from Cushenberry at his best 11, but it's like Cushenberry is like a early season trade acquisition, and you upgrade your line. To me, that's how you have to look at it. I'm sure he badly wants to play against his old team in the opener, but
yep.
I don't know. I think Achilles stuff obviously has changed a lot, just like a lot of medical stuff. ACLs used to be so different than they are now. Achilles injuries are getting more like that, but still feels like with a big guy, you're asking a lot.
I would agree. And I mean, really the question is, when's he going to be ready? Is it going to be week 2? Is it going to be week 7? Like, when is Cushenberry going to be healthy and available and ready to go? I don't know. Like, that's a big part of the offensive line being at the level that you hope it's going to be at some point this year. And in the meantime, look, I don't think Lloyd Cushenberry is the straw that stirs the drink to the offensive line. Like, they need Dan Moore to be good. They're paying Dan Moore a lot of money. They need him to be good at left tackle. They need J.C. Latham to be really good. They need the two tackle spots to really solidify this thing. But, if Levin is a disaster at center, obviously that's going to be a big problem for your offensive line. So hopefully he won't be. But in the meantime, like, how long is it going to be before Cushenberry is number 1 back and number 2 back at full capacity?
Yeah, good question. You hope that the season's still viable at that point. Dennis says this time of year is crazy on social media. People posting videos of QBs in training camp with comments like there's no other QB. Yeah. 2 or 3 guys in the world can make this throw. Remember, go back to Will Levis and the one of the TDs he threw on his big Billy Jeans day.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Shedeur Sanders, everybody tells me he doesn't have arm talent. Go watch the throw he made to beat Baylor. It was basically a Hail Mary, but it was kind of not quite. It wasn't a traditional Hail Mary. Actually, it was throwing to one guy on a line. Tell me who can make that throw. I mean, every one of these guys better be able to make throws like that at times.
Go watch Zach Wilson's pro day. I mean, that one throw
Sure.
he made in pro day was like, how many guys in the league can make this throw? Like, a lot of them.
Throw he made against the Titans to Corey Davis.
On
that one.
Yeah, like once you start listing out the quarterbacks in the NFL, you find out pretty quickly there's a lot of quarterbacks that can make these throws.
And even the ones who can't, one who can't make those throws? I'll give you 2 who I've never seen throws that are like, oh my God. Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
But you know what they do? They hit the strike zone every time. That's what matters most.
Exactly. So, look, it's great that Cam Ward can make those type of plays. And, look, if you're going to have a little bit of special to you, you have to be able to make some of those plays. And now, I think, as I said yesterday, the ability to make some of those plays with him, I think, is going to be a given. He's going to make some. He's also going to make some mistakes when he does that. But what you just said is probably what I care about the most. How often can Cam Ward, when you've got something available to you, how often can he just hit it over and over again? And that's
make the quick decision. Go to your second read quick.
That's such a big part of playing quarterback. Like, yeah, you want him to make some Mahomes plays and some Josh Allen plays. And, if you're trying to compete with those guys in the AFC, you're going to need some of that. But the biggest thing I want to see from Cam Ward this year is when there's a play available to be made, can you make it over and over and over again? Can you do that?
No question. Go watch. I've watched Joe Burrow games. Joe Burrow makes some amazing throws too, but I've watched Joe Burrow games where it's like balls up, right on target, balls out, right up, quick. Okay, second option, right on target, right on target. The Bengals, I mean, over the middle, short passing, run after the catch, huge part of that offense, which of course is this offense. So yeah, there's going to be vertical stuff too, and that matters, but that's it. Seeing it quickly, diagnosing correctly, and then you put the ball in the strike zone.
615.
It's boring, but it's what matters most.
You know what's not boring? Moving the football. That's not boring.
True.
That's the Titans hadn't done a whole lot of that
so
last
I've heard.
few years. That's not boring. Let's move the football up and down the field and put some points on the board. That's to me pretty exciting. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. We will do that rapid fire styled coming up next. This fall, live at the Pinnacle at Nashville Yards, Tim McGraw will perform at Trinitix's Rock the Cradle. This event sure to be a great time celebrating a great cause. Proceeds from the event will support newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. You can get your tickets at rockthecradlenashville.org. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Join 102.5 The Game at the Holiday Inn Nashville Airport this Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. for the Dude Perfect Inspired Open House. We'll be on site giving away Dude Perfect tickets and Nashville Sounds Family 4-packs, plus games, prizes, and body armor as well. That's coming up this Sunday from 1 to 5. Taking your thoughts on the Titans. One texter, Joe, says the great QB evaluator, Stillman, said Ward is throwing too many picks in practice and has to clean that up. What do we think of that? I mean, look, you don't want to see your quarterback throwing picks. And particularly, I think, and Callahan addressed this in the press conference a few minutes ago, where the picks are coming, right? He's throwing them over the middle of the field to the linebackers, and Callahan talked about like learning in the NFL that you can't really throw the ball over guys. Like it's a really hard thing to do because of just the depth that the linebackers play at and their ability to go up and get the football. So, I think that's something clearly Cam Ward is trying to learn and grow through in camp. I'd rather him do that in camp and get it out of the way and learn that. And by the time week 1 rolls around, maybe he's more prepared for that. You're going to see him make some mistakes. Look, he's going to throw some picks this year, guys. Like Cam Ward he's going to get fooled by a defense every now and then. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to throw some picks. So I'm not like panicking about that right now. If we get deeper into camp and he's still throwing picks over the middle of the field to the linebacker, then that's probably something to be concerned about heading into the year.
Yeah. I'd almost be concerned like if there were like no picks.
Like Marcus his first year.
Then we'd be talking captain checkdown. See, that's captain checkdown. Captain checkdown is never take any risks, never try to get into those tight windows. Go with the easy stuff and just see if you can get 3 yards and 4 yards and 3 yards. Let it rip, man. Let it rip a little bit. Yeah, obviously you don't want it to be lack.
Like that. You like that.
There we go. Lack of recognition picks. And sometimes, like Callahan talked about it, James Williams making a great play. I mean, that happens too. So
I think Marcus went like 14 practices without an interception as a
rookie.
Yeah.
And then he came out with
it's
a
like,
perfect.
My gosh.
Then he came out
unbelievable
with a perfect QB rating in his first game. He's going to be the greatest quarterback. I was so excited for Marcus. The Titans quarterbacks, just as a general NFL fan, I was so excited for Vince Young and for Marcus. Not for Jake Locker.
No Locker?
Not for Jake Locker necessarily. No, I thought that was one of the worst picks I'd ever seen. Like, guys. Did you not watch this guy play in college? He can't throw. He has a big arm. He doesn't know where he's throwing it. He's a hell of a athlete. Great linebacker.
Jake Locker's only 37 years old. He could theoretically still be playing football for the Titans right now.
That's wild.
Had that worked out.
Well, he should have switched to linebacker early. Did you see, by the way, speaking of linebackers, I just thought of whenever I really get the Jake Locker, I do think of Will Levis. I do draw that parallel a little bit. Did you see the post from Levis last night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where he's like, he showed like the huge lump in his shoulder, the bone sticking. It was awful. It was like, this is the last time I have to deal with this anymore. Like, gee, I guess
gross.
The shoulder was a mess. But again, it's like, I mean, just get it fixed. I don't know. Whatever.
Jake Locker's last year at Washington.
It's fine.
He completed 55.4% of his passes.
Right.
It's not very good.
No, I mean, you watch him play, it's like, oh man, he makes some big plays sometimes. He's a great athlete, run the ball. Now, this some of the same stuff was said about Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Coming out of college.
Now, again, I'm on Sports Reference, so I have to make sure these stats are right.
Yeah, that's true. It really bothers me. I need to consider that gospel. So, it's I don't know what my thought was. I had a thought there. And
Josh Allen's last year at
lost
Wyoming.
Thought. That's lost.
Well, Josh Allen's last year at Wyoming, he completed 56.3% of his passes.
Yeah, again at Wyoming, so he's not playing the highest level of competition. That I don't know that there'll ever be a situation quite like Josh Allen in this league.
Yeah,
where like it's so clear that all the knocks against the quarterback were exactly dead on, and that he would be a total bust, and then he's a great player.
Well, and coupled with that, like the first 2 years, it looked like he was well on the way to being a total bust.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But like early on, it's like clear.
Yeah, like even coming out of college, like there was some yellow flags there where you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, all the criticisms proved to be exactly correct, and then all of a sudden
he's unstoppable.
Like Lamar Jackson right away. You're like, a lot of the stuff people saying about him coming out of college proved to be really dumb. It's some stuff on this station. Proved to be just way off. Although he's also gotten a lot better since then.
Yes.
But Josh Allen was like, oh my God, this guy's bad.
Josh Allen's first year, he completed 52.8% of his passes. You know how hard that is to do in the NFL? 52.8.
It's so bad.
Ugh.
He'll be forever you can't improve your accuracy. Yeah. It's just not, but it's like, but he'll be that outlier who people use as an example, but really he'll be an outlier.
Yeah. It's pretty wild
for the most part.
I mean, hopefully Cam Ward, pretty accurate early on. I mean, look, we talk about accuracy with Cam Ward. He was pretty accurate in college, right? Like, I mean, he wasn't perfect, but I mean, I'm pulling up his stats from last year. He had 67.2% completion percentage. It's pretty good. Now, how much? I didn't watch every snap he played, and I'm sure there are some bubble screens in there, and those always elevate, jet sweeps and all that stuff. But 67.2%, pretty good.
Yeah, all completion percentage. It's definitely, not created equally. That's why that stat in tandem with yards per attempt is a really good. That's an important. Those are
Which,
two
by the way, was
important
9.5 for Cam Ward
so,
last year.
So there you
pretty
go.
Good.
Those are two numbers that are okay. That's a big time talent. Not a big time talent. I would have taken number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people would have taken number 1.
You would have gone a different Cam, who apparently is just tearing up New York Giants Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Is he going as Cameron?
I don't know.
Is anybody calling him Cameron Scatterby? I need to know.
Is he who's going to rush for more yards this year, Scatterby or Ashton Genty? Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good question. Boy, I really like
Is it a good question?
I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be Ashton Genty. He is pretty freaking great. But Scatterby's going to do some damage.
Scatterby will come in just under 1,700 yards this rookie year.
We'll see. Yeah, everybody's going to find out about Cam. That Cam. There's a Cam here. There's other Cams. That's a good Cam, too.
Titans are in
I'm gonna go to
pads
practice
today.
now.
Rexrode's headed to practice. He'll have a full report tomorrow. That's going to do it for us today on the program. Chase and Big Joe is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.